Thank God it's Friday. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 55 minutes of current and relevant business conversations here on Business Morning. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and we start as usual from the oil space, where prices are poised for a weekly gain today, supported by unexpected Federal Reserve interest rate cuts that's escalating U.S.-Venezuela tensions, also that has stalled peace talks in Moscow, though both oil benchmarks dipped from the previous day. So we look at the numbers at this time, and it's not so significant talking about the movement. However, we see Brent down 0.02% at $63.25 a barrel. WTI is also down 0.10%, $59.61 a barrel. The market is weighing the impact of lower CPC exports and some positive news on the demand side with a possible Fed rate cut. That's also on the horizon. Also, markets continue to brace up for a potential U.S. military incursion into Venezuela after President Donald Trump said that the U.S. would start taking action to stop Venezuelan drug traffickers on land. Back in Nigeria, the Debt Management Office has raised 709.6 billion naira at its latest Treasury bills auction, with investors heavily favoring the 364-day paper. The shorter 91 and 182-day bills were undersubscribed, beg your pardon. The one-year bill drew strong demand, with subscriptions of nearly 700 billion naira against an offer of 450 billion naira, leading the DMO to allot 636.5 billion. That's almost 90% of total proceeds. The 360-day stock rate climbed 17.5%. That's from 16.04% at the last auction. Rates on the shorter tenures held steady at 15.30 and 15.50. And now the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, that's AMCON, they said that they have repaid about 3.6 trillion naira to the Central Bank of Nigeria since inception. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the corporation, Mr. Gbenga Alade, disclosed this at a media parley in Lagos and said even though it paid 1.7 trillion to purchase the toxic assets of banks, the Asset Recovery Agency has been able to repay the said amount and still owes about 3 trillion. The government-owned agency established in 2010 to stabilize and revitalize the Nigerian financial system said it's restructured the banks by offloading toxic assets from their books and injecting fresh funds, aligning with corporate insolvency restructuring principles. The CEO also notes that the law establishing the agency upsets and reverses contractual rights and securities law hierarchy by conferring priority to AMCON in disputes with bank debtors over collateral and contracts. Mr. Alade said that he projects total revenue for 2025 to hit 215.15 billion naira, while that of total operating expenses will be 29.06 billion. He, however, seized the opportunity to thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the judiciary, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as the EFCC and police for their support.
Devaluation does not affect, it doesn't have very much impact on what we're doing today. Besides, let me also correct that 3.4 trillion is the outstanding that AMCON has, not 4.4 trillion. 3.45 trillion, that is the outstanding that AMCON is yet to pay to CBN. AMCON has so far paid 3.6 trillion. 3.6 trillion. That is what AMCON has so far paid to CBN for interest and principal repayment, total payment. And we have outstanding of 3.45 trillion today. If you know that you have a back loan, you have to make provision, you have to provide for it. Your shareholders are going to be asking for your neck if all the money you make is going to provisions. So that is one way. And shareholders we know in Nigeria today, they want their money, they want dividend.
All All right, now let's talk a little bit about grassroots development. In Rivers State, members of some local government areas there have come together, precisely Obiakpo have come together, the elders and the leaders there. They say they will soon have fewer bottlenecks hampering commercial activities in the council. The chairman, Dr. Gift Wolu, in Port Harcourt during the Obiakpo Economic Investment Summit said this, and he unveiled what they call the Obalga Arise, which he said will help improve the economic situation in the local government area.
We're tearing down old and irrelevant rules that make no sense. Very soon, you will know exactly what anything costs, how long it takes, and nobody will ask you for something small on top. I want investors to say, if you are doing business in Rivers State, start in Obiakpo. Things just work there.
Investors and investments go to the best location. They are not sentimental. I won't say because I'm a little one, I'll go and build a house that will not bring any value from there. You know that's true, right? Yeah. So if you make Obiakpo attractive, the investments will come. I think that's what you're trying to do. There's a quote here. It says, as leaders, we do not create growth. The best we can do is create an environment that is conducive to growth, which is what you're doing. It is like planting a garden. You do not cause the seeds to grow. To grow is their natural purpose in life.
Well, the level of insecurity in the country in recent times has been a source of worry to everyone, every investor, intending investor, existing investors, and of course, that concern has spread to looking for solution. This morning, we'll see how we can use AI, artificial intelligence, to solve that. So let's see some of those issues around insecurity and business in the country. If my producers will give me that slide at this time, that would be really good. I will be having this conversation right here in the studio with Victor Oshodi. He is the country director of the Association for the Advancements of Artificial Intelligence Nigeria. He's an AI and policy and international business consultant. So there you have it, how insecurity has affected business. I'm sure that to everyone, who's connected to the business environment in one way or the other, it's no news. The disruption in supply chains, we've seen what happens in bringing food stuff from especially the northern part to the southern part, even moving within the southwest. The other day we heard of a kidnap in the southeast. So of course it's a lot of concern. Investors' confidence dropping, reduced profitability because entrepreneurs have to think of better ways to secure their commodities, services, their premises of business, and even their lives, So it is a lot of concern. Human capital challenges, they're also there, reduced business confidence, increased operational costs, because some people now have to hire extra security if you want to move your goods or services or for your premises. Obviously, that adds to the overhead cost of doing business. Let's hear what Mr. Victor Oshodi has. Is right here in the studio. Mr. Oshodi, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. So, I don't think we should go ahead and start discussing the disruption to businesses and perceived disruption even when it's not happening already, because business is built on confidence. Some people say buy on rumors and sell on the news. But let's go straight to how you are into AI, artificial intelligence, some realistic solutions you can share with us, when it comes to dealing with this issue of insecurity.
Well, the advantage AI gives us as a country and as a business people is that AI gives us the ability to move from reactive approach, where we respond to attack, to proactive approach, that prevent incidents before they occur. With predictive analytics, AI can help us reduce crime. Okay. AI can help us.
So taking this outside the text now to reality, you're talking of predictive analysis and all of that for prevention. What does that look like? Who is supposed to do it? How should it be done?
Well, it's the government. They need to implement some policies that can help AI to thrive in this country, meaning that the security agencies, they need to be equipped with the right tools. Once they are equipped with the right tools, they are able to manage a lot of these threats that reduces the confidence of business owners. For example, if the security agencies are well equipped with real-time data that monitors all activities, including illicit financial transactions, they have that upper hand to detect crime before they even happen.
But is Nigeria in a position to even acquire this data? Is anybody keeping tabs on data at this time?
Oh yes, we have the ability to. The question should be that is there a will to achieve this? And that only the government team can answer that. But I think we have the ability to implement AI. It is not a rocket science. It's very easy to, acquire.
So you're saying that the private sector cannot play a role in that?
The private sector can play a role. For example, big businesses, they've already started implementing some risk mitigating factor. They've also been investing heavily in their own security, and they've been partnering with local communities, and they are spending heavy on security too. So they are doing their best to ensure that their businesses stay afloat and their employees are not also affected. So the private sector, some of them are already doing that. But the government can play a more bigger role. So
now that the president has given that order, that VIPs, I think, is only serving VIPs in government that should enjoy the covering from police and all of that. Does that make any difference?
Well, I think it gives the police and the armed forces more men on ground to be able to really deal with this issue. That is what I believe. And the only difference is that they have a lot of teams that can go into those sport areas and ensure that they tighten the grip there with more men on the ground. AI cannot replace our security force or replace humans, but AI can help to make sure that the job is done effectively and efficiently. So I think with more men on ground, they're actually a good one for the security forces to combat this crime. And once crime is able to be combated, investment and investors, the confidence grow, and they like to, invest. Well, if the area is not safe, investors, both local and international, they will pull back. That is the reality.
And then when you talk about this gathering and usage of data, who? You say it's the government. Which of the government arms do you think should be driving that?
Each security apparatus in this country have a department that handles technology. So what they have to do is to really look inward and try to see how they can implement this security so that a team. We have a lot of security agencies, from the police, the military, the DSS. They all have a team that handles their security. So if they implement this, if there is a will to do this, they have a better chance of combating crime, because it gives the military men real-time access to know when threat is about to take place. And if you're able to prevent threat, you give investors confidence to know that indeed we are safe, our investment is safe, our personnel tools are safe, and we can invest in this country or in this area.
And you talked about using data for predictive action.
Yes.
To predict an action before it happens. Do we have such trends, perhaps in some areas, that you think can lead to those predictive actions?
Well, again, the security network of this country, I think we do, but maybe we need to enhance it. And I don't know much how they operate in a security system, but I think we do because we've seen some clips of some people talking about real-time satellite. So what we need to do is to maybe enhance it. If we're able to enhance it, then we can get the right results we want. The basic point here is that if our society is safe, then investment can grow. But without that, we can't achieve much.
So what else can AI help us do in the area of dealing with insecurity?
AI can also help us to really track down these terrorists in real time. It can also help us to track their financial inflows, track how they do their business. So with this, we can be able to achieve a great result.
Then all this too is supposed to come from the government?
Yeah, the government can partner with private sector, but they take the lead. They take the lead, for sure.
All right, it's interesting. Everybody's talking about AI and all of that, but there's also the issue of infrastructure to support this AI. Are we good? Are we okay in that area?
Well, I think the government will need to answer that question, but in my own opinion, we have the right tools on ground. All we just need to do is to get the needed help. The areas that we are not doing well, we can always get international collaboration. And once we do that, we'll be able to achieve a great result. Even within 90 days, this security threat will reduce. So this is what I think, and I believe we can achieve this result.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Victor Osho, the Country Director, Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence Nigeria. Is also an AI policy and international business consultant. Thank you for your time and your views.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on a break, but before then, I would like to lead DSTV viewers in Rivers State. There's a sitting of Rivers State House of Assembly today at this time, but that's for our DSTV viewers. For our other viewers, please stay with us here on Business Morning. And if you would like to join us on DSTV, you can just go to our YouTube channel and you continue watching Business Morning. Let's take a break now. When we come back, we'll continue with the program. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Business Morning right here on Channels Television. Now, this week is a week of many days, yeah? So December 3rd was the World Disability Day, known as the National Day of Persons with Disabilities. That's what it's called, celebrated on this day since the proclamation in 1992 by the United Nations General Assembly. So while we are celebrating them, we look at the workforce and productivity level here in Nigeria. And there are some individuals who have the notion that Nigeria is missing out on a level of productivity because of this group of individuals. And there are quite a number of them. From the National Commission for Persons with Disability and the 2024 report by the federal government, there are about 35.1 million Nigerians who are living with some form of disability or the other. This means that about 15% of the nation's total population have been captured here. So if we ignore them, we're ignoring 15% of our nation's population. 2018 Demographic and Health Survey shows that nearly 12% of Nigerians aged 15 and older have some level of disability. 2% are experiencing severe disabilities among adults. Functional disabilities with mobility 4% and seeing 2.8 were the most common. Talking about gender, the prevalence of functional disability is slightly higher for women, unfortunately 7.5%, for men is 6.3%. In rural areas, you're looking at about 7.4% compared to urban areas, which is 5.8%. I guess the issue of care and all of that also feed into that. Now let's delve into this, what we may be missing as a country if we're not looking the way of people living with disability. Right here in the studio, we have the Chief Executive Officer of Shades of Life Care Limited, and also she's the CEO of Shades of Life Foundation, Ms. Nwokolo Eziafa Kuku, an entrepreneur. Obviously, I think I murdered your name there. That's why you laughed.
Don't worry.
Please tell me the right one.
I'm used to it. So
don't get used to it. Please tell me.
No, so it's Eziafa Kuku.
Ezia Fakaku.
Exactly.
All right, Ezia Fakaku.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so you're one of those drawing our attention to people living with disabilities, and you believe that we are missing out on some level of productivity because we're ignoring this level or this group of individuals in the country. And they're quite much, 15%. That's a lot.
So, yes, the challenge, I'm in the intellectual disability and autism space. Okay, and what we have found is that, yes, there's a lot of work going on disability-wise. However, most of the data that we have in the country right now points to people that have, like you rightly said, the physical disabilities or things that we can see. Now, individuals on the spectrum or those that have intellectual disabilities are not obvious because it's in an invisible disability. You don't see. There are no markers until you've assessed them. Now, what happens is that because we haven't gotten enough data, we don't have the data bank. It means also that we don't have access to these individuals. And we're not talking of people that are children or, adolescents. We're talking of early adulthood from their 20s, mid-20s, and above. We even have adults who are on the spectrum. We've had people we've just diagnosed as old as their 40s, 41 and above, who've, because of the information and the work that's been done, have come to present themselves and ask for assessments. Some are in the workforce, some are not. And so if we don't have the data and then harness this group of people, will continue to lose out on the unique perspectives that they bring and what they can add to organizations.
So that means your foundation can be a source of data. If you have individuals who come to you and you are able to capture that, I guess we can come to you for data, because data is actually a very
it drives decisions.
A lot of sectors in Nigeria, we do not have data. If you go on search now, most likely you get information from the United States and then the United Kingdom, but nobody's putting our data out there.
And the data, the statistics that we have from World Health, because when I was doing my study, for my PhD, the ratio of 1 in 100 or 1 in 36 are all US and everywhere but Africa included. So Africans as a whole, we also need to start thinking, how do we capture? And that's some other work that we started to do.
Your foundation is doing?
Yes, interacting with other Africans,
wonderful.
West Africa, to sort of begin to build a robust assessment, robust diagnostic and data keeping, whatever sets that, so that we can have more information to lean on and hopefully feed back to World Health eventually if somebody comes up, but at least keep our own data. However, we have, like I said, a lot of data on children and adolescents. We're just beginning to have input from adults. The reason being that you have all the stigma, you have everything that's going on. So people are not really willing to come out and present themselves. So when we've diagnosed adults who come from workforce, we say to them, look, lean on us. We can help you work through this. And don't think you're walking alone, because you go into your space and you say, oh, I've been diagnosed, I'm autistic. The first thing would be like, what does that mean? And all that. But we're encouraging people to come out. And with organizations, I'll give you an example. People don't understand autism, like I said. And so you have adults who are in the workspace. I have a personal experience. And they're steadfast in some of the traits. They just want specific things done specific ways. And because they are not understood, management and others may turn them as being difficult, or why do I always have to say the same thing to you over and over, but not realizing that I have a child who's late 20s, so you can imagine there are people before her who are in the workforce, okay? And because there's no understanding, you're not able to help that individual, or you've not even put that individual in the right role. And that's why you're having all that frustration and kickback. So organizations need to work with entities like us. I've been trying to preach this gospel. Come, do your HR differently, do your employment differently. What can you do so that your business can actually have fit for purpose staff and who bring a lot to the table that will also help your business.
So I wanted to ask, when you say they can lean on you, I mean, and I think you've touched a bit on that. When you say these individuals can lean on you, what does that mean? Do you give them legal backing? Do you stop them from being fired? Can you maybe try to enforce some of those needs and attention specifics that they need? Can you do that?
So not so much the legal backing, but advocacy. So you have somebody that can speak on their behalf and explain their peculiar needs. Now, we haven't gotten to the point where we've had put the legal framework together, because I think it's just beyond one individual. We need laws. We need that public-private partnership with the government that would say, okay, this human being or this organization can do this, and then give us lawyers. So basically that framework needs to be thought through. The other day I had that what's her name in the is it House of Rep or Senate, somebody had put out a proposal for a bill that centers should be established in 6 geopolitical zones, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the plan? How do you want to do that? So things like that, if you come to people like myself, we can then work out strategies to be able to better represent these individuals and support them as required.
Yeah, so Lagos State, I know they have an office, a really active office, for people living with disabilities, even though you were emphasizing it's not just about the physical one. I wonder if you have interactions with them, because if you need laws and all, then you certainly have to work with the government.
I've put out proposals to Lagos State. What we've been able to do is in the 6 zones, like they call it, we've been able to provide teaching and trainings for teachers and counselors in the secondary school level and also the primary school. But it goes beyond that, like you rightly said. So we're hoping that at some point we'll be able to have that into Lagos State, not just working with disability, but the health, education, and the youth, and they have all these umbrella bodies so we're hoping that somehow we'll get the attention of Lagos State to have more conversations.
One time the conversation of incentives to organizations who employ people living with disability was in the horizon, but I don't hear a whole lot about that.
Me neither. I don't know.
Because that would have been a way, another form of advocacy, for organizations.
I know there are people that have been working with, I have a colleague who's worked with the Ministry of Disabilities, but again, the dynamics of their interaction was a bit different from what we are hoping to bring on board. Maybe it's rather that people tell me you're not very pushy, but I think there's just something inherently challenging, if I may use that word, with trying to get in somewhere and you have to jump so many hoops and hoops and hoops. It's tiring.
It's Nigerian style. It's Nigerian style.
I guess I need to find is it the connection or whatever to get connection. Me in there, so.
But I mean, when you're doing this advocacy, could you tell us, what do organizations or the workforce in the country, what do they lose if they don't give attention to this group of individuals? Because obviously everybody brings gifts and talents and skills, and we're talking about productivity in the country now to boost the economy activity. So what do they lose? If you could just paint the picture, perhaps that could be another way of persuading organizations to give attention.
Okay, so for instance, you have autistic individuals, one of their traits being being so fastidious and attention to detail, like they like repetitive behavior. That is a strength, because you find when you put them in IT or data related areas, they thrive. So you're looking at banks, you're looking at health sector where there are things that are done repetitively. You're looking at security. There's an instance that happened in the UK. They had this autistic individual who was a police officer, and he was patrolling. He was a bit frustrated. The summary of it was that they eventually took him out from the field and put him behind the scenes. Guess what? There was a crime that they had been trying to solve for many moons, and it took this guy 2 weeks to identify the culprit, putting the patterns together and everything. So these are some of the things.
Because of the attention to detail.
Yes. So if you want people that will thrive with attention to, if you're an organization that, or a CEO or whoever that loves attention to detail, your autistic person is your go-to. If you're somebody that loves creativity, we have one of them. Remy is a voiceover artist. He's going all over the place, and that he's so attention detailed. You know, statistics, data entry. That's their bane, and they'll crunch out. Like I said, my daughter, I had this big old Excel, and I was success. What do I want to do? I couldn't even. I just gave it to her. I said, "Look, my dear, what I had been sweating over, it took her 1 week." And she found all the errors and gave it back to me and said, "Mom, I'm done." I was like, "How can you be done? 3 years worth of data, you're done like that." And, you know, things like that. So if you're in the banking sector, you want to be looking at what can I do? What can I offer people on the spectrum? And, you know, but again, the main thing is that don't go out and try to employ them or recruit them the way you would recruit neurotypicals. Their interviews have to be different, and that's what I mean by us supporting them. You know, that somebody being there to break down the process for them, and yeah.
All right, let's grab the strength. I mean, we're talking about the lack of data,
Yep.
you know, that we have in the different sectors of Nigeria. Imagine if a data office, for instance, is created and you get these guys together. I wonder what we can get out of it. But thank you so much for bringing this to the fore. Chief Executive Officer of Shades of Life Care Limited, and also Chief Executive Officer of Shades of Life Foundation, Mrs. Umokolo Ezebia.
Okay, look at the name. Your clue is look at it and say every letter as you see it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience.
No problem.
All right, let's take a break now. When we come back, it was also World Computer Day this week. What has that got to do with you? Find out in a moment. Please stay with us. welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning here on Channels Television. Another day that was celebrated this week, that's December the 2nd, World Computer Day, generally referred to as World Computer Literacy Day, observed every December the 2nd to create awareness or broaden the awareness that was already in existence when it comes to computers, especially as the world embraces AI and ICT. Let's discuss this with the founder of F&F Consultancy in Canada. It joins us virtually this time, Dr. Finn Ditimi. Dr. Ditimi, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great. So we say December 2nd is World Computer Day. What does it mean really? What are we celebrating, especially for a country like Nigeria?
So World Computer Day is basically us celebrating the opportunities and the global reach that being able to connect to the internet and use devices to be able to not just communicate, but also transact is providing for us, which is also positioning us for the global expansion that is happening around the world, for talents, for opportunities and networking, which can lead back to generating income for people looking to offer digital skill set that is needed around the world.
So I think one of the top conversations around computer and ICT is data protection these days, and we're trying to find a balance between selling yourself or selling whatever brand you have and staying protected online as incidents of cybersecurity keeps increasing.
So cybersecurity is exploding globally. Right now, we're seeing that there's actually over 4 million unfilled jobs within that space alone. And companies just don't want people that have talent. They actually need people that can urgently solve the problem for them. And with companies now advocating for remote work, it means that they can hire you irrespective of your location, provided you have the skill set. Because now the career is not just rewarding, but it's rewarding because you're solving problems, and you're solving problems that does not require you to physically be there, which opens an opportunity for people, specifically youths or anyone looking to move into the digital space that is based in Nigeria at the moment, because 60% of cybersecurity roles also don't require any coding, which means that provided you have some of the soft skills and some of the key skill set, like your ability to manage risks, compliance, vulnerability assessment, you'll be able to add value. And there's even a lot of entry-level remote roles that are cybersecurity focused. And cybersecurity is no longer just a career, it's now becoming a global shortage. And whoever is able to fill this gap, irrespective of where they are, companies are willing to hire you.
So how do I get qualified for such opportunities? Talking about the virtual work.
So one of the key things we're seeing right now is that people are focusing more on how to position themselves in terms of the traditional route, which is going back to school or getting a bunch of certification. But what we're seeing now is people wanting to have digital skill set. And it's not tied to a degree. Your ability to have transferable skills that you could utilize to solve problems for them, which means that due to this gap, what are the things that they are now needing? They need people that can present themselves to compete globally. So you rebuilding your skill set. So let's say you want to work in the cybersecurity space. You're understanding the tools that they use. You're understanding the process that they do. You're understanding how to position yourself in terms of your resume, in terms of the remote tools that they utilize, and also joining other global community experts that do not care about where you're based, that are already doing this. Because the real passport we're seeing right now is your skill. And the moment you solve a global problem, your income becomes global.
Yeah, but I mean, so how do I get that skill? You said transferable skills. Do I go to a school, an academics, online, get individuals? Reality, how do I do it?
So there are multiple routes that we're seeing that people are taking. Some people are self-learning, which means that you can go online, look for online certifications, and go through it and actually follow the modules and complete yourself. But we have a bunch of people, and we're seeing data even show that there are a lot of people like Proctor, which means they like the support, they like the accountability, and they like instructor-based setup that helps them be able to follow in modules. That is one of the things that we provide, and we're seeing a lot of digital-first training programs also providing to help help Africans and guiding them through the process of identifying these soft skills that are needed, identifying the tools that are needed, teaching them to build proof using these tools, and when they've built the proof, now showing this proof by building a portfolio to show to companies globally that this is how I've solved this problem for people and I can come solve it for you.
Do we have cultural or operational hurdles to going virtual?
Yeah, so just like any industry, there are a lot of new processes that might not be a culture yet for people, because culture is basically a way of life, and now we're presenting a global first remote kind of working environment, which is still something that we are getting adjusted to. For example, one of the first things on the operational side is you need to learn the tools that you can utilize to collaborate with people remotely, like Slack, Trello, Asana, Zoom, even Google, and be able to use it properly. Also, the communication part, learning how to write clearly for people to understand without using innuendos that are particular to us Africans, or even how to present globally and being able to demonstrate how you utilizing the different tools also is a key. And also following processes. Over here, there are what we call SOPs, or standard operating procedures, that a lot of companies expect you to follow to the T, and being able to utilize and be reliable even in a remote environment where you are available, you are reachable, you are accountable, and even coordinating time zones, because some of the time zone might not necessarily align one-to-one with the West African time zone, and delivering work without micromanagement. Because you're working remotely, I cannot look over your head to see what you're doing on your computer when in comparing to when you're working in a physical office. So ability to adjust now, to be accountable, to know that you don't need to be micromanaged, to utilize the tools and follow processes are the cultural changes that we need to adapt to and be able to build accountability so companies will be willing to work with you.
Well, does the perception of Nigeria as a country, for instance, does it come into play here? You know, the perception that a lot of people outside the country have.
Yeah. So what we're seeing is that there are a lot of people, including myself, that are pushing to change the norm. So one thing about perception, it was started by somebody. So when perceptions happen, it requires someone else to change that. For example, if you find yourself working in an environment, it's important that you put your best foot forward. You utilize the tools, you utilize the processes, and you show, because the minute you're able to prove that, they'll be more willing to hire. I've seen a lot of companies or a lot of areas where, for example, this perception was there, for example, the country of Philippines, but now they've been able to build that credibility by having thousands of their citizens working remotely, changing their and adjusting their culture and relearning and unlearning habits that have helped them now change that. In the US, we're seeing about 5 to 10%, actually pulling numbers away from India and China who are providing a bulk of the remote work, now moving to Philippines. And Africa having one of the youngest populations, with Nigeria actually being one at the forefront of that, we have a global human capacity that the rest of the world is willing to listen to us and willing to give us an opportunity if we can prove beyond reasonable doubt. And a lot of groups already do that. For example, we can talk about Andela, that has changed the game in the software development space, and there are multiple other groups that are providing this type of support globally. And companies in the US, the UK, France, and all of that are now shifting their perception on Africans.
Interesting. Africa is the future. I mean, it seems there's no question. It is which of the African countries will be able to, tap into it enough for their own good. I guess that's it. But just before we go, just in a very short minute, any tips for youths or anybody who's watching this program at this time and would really like to get into the space of virtual work?
Yeah, Nigeria has the youngest population in Africa, no doubt, and the fastest growing. And if you equip yourself with the digital security skills, AI literacy, and actually be remote ready, so learn the skill set, the tools, the processes for you to be able to work remotely, we are not just going to be reducing unemployment. We're going to be unlocking a generation of global earners, which means people that will live any monthly like $50 to $100 to earning thousands of dollars from the comfort of their home. And the digital economy is not the future. It is the present, and Nigeria deserves a seat at the table.
much, Dr. Finn Ditimi, founder of F&F Consultancy in Canada. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
It's now time to go global. Welcome back, Going Global now with Ladi Williams. Ladi, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
But I don't know if you've seen the Google search for 2025 for Nigeria.
Right.
Interesting mix there.
Yeah.
But you know when I was just going through it, and someone said one of the things that stand out is the most searched personality for this year wasn't President Bola Tinubu.
Really?
It was who? There you have it. Natasha Akpoti.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you would have
Quite
thought that
the list.
You would have thought that with everything that has happened, that perhaps something around security, something around the economy, or someone around security or the economy would be the most searched for in 2025. But there we see is Natasha Akpoti, and then next is Eberechi Eze.
Then we have VDM.
Yeah, we gotta have VDM.
Yes, you can't have that list.
We need to have VDM when it comes to that. We have others also, Ladi.
And Hilda Bassi with that huge pot of jollof rice, that massive one that I didn't get to taste.
Ladi, I don't know what we are doing. I thought perhaps, one of those economists will be one of the most.
No, I don't think they care about the economists, at this point on Google. But, it's quite interesting, when you see, these lists, it just gives you, an idea of what, Nigerians are interested in. At this point.
You would think that the economy and their pockets would be the most. And then we also have another one. I think the most when it comes to loss. I believe late President Muhammadu Buhari received a lot of attention when they look at those that we lost. And also the footballer, Peter Rufai, was also one of the top when it comes to the loss that we had this year.
Right, and Umar Okpai. Don't forget Umar Okpai.
Yeah, oh God.
A big name.
Yeah, that's close to my heart, I must say.
In 2025.
And then we have others. If we can have the other ones for this year. I believe we have lyrics also, Davido. Yeah, there you have it.
Lyrics.
Yeah.
Oluwatosi, and he sang that one a lot.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
It's like an anthem, at this point.
It's still an anthem.
The song,
it's still an anthem. An anthem among the Christians. But, I mean, the top is actually Davido.
Yeah, that was a hit song.
Yeah.
It's a hit song, still making waves at this point in Nigeria. And
Can I confess I haven't listened to it?
Well, it's possible.
I haven't.
Yeah, if you're under a rock.
All right, then meaning.
Achalugo.
What's the story behind that? Achalugo.
Remember the guy with the thick Igbo accent? Yeah, telling the lady how much he's ready to spend for her. And remember that big question, how much is money? I wish I could do his Igbo accent, but no, I can't do it, right now.
That's why you don't have the money, laddie.
Well, maybe I should get the accent.
And the money will
Igbo
follow.
accent, then the money will follow.
And then the money will follow.
All right, let me look into that.
And then for news, laddie.
Right, so we see Club World Cup, Diogo Jota, definitely that story about Jota there. Losing this year. I think he's also part of loss,
Yeah, that's
top
Buhari,
yes. Right there. And Charlie
Kirk, that's around the world.
Big story this year.
Yeah, even in Nigeria. So, I mean, this is the most searched on Google in Nigeria for 2020.
I'd like to see your personal list at some point. Maybe we'll check in his most searched list.
My PA will get back to
Fantastic. I'll be waiting for that info. All right, let's get a check now what's playing out in global space. We see it's a high-stakes Friday on Wall Street as traders, they're bracing for a wave of economic data that could set the tone for global markets. All eyes on the core PCE price index, the Federal Reserve's preferred measure of inflation, dropping at 10 a.m. Eastern time today. Economists expect 0.2% increase, matching last month's figure. But any surprise could quickly shift expectations for the Fed's next policy move, with inflation still the biggest wild card for interest rates. Today's reading will offer fresh clues on whether price pressures in the U.S. economy are cooling or holding firm. Investors worldwide are watching closely because what happens next could ripple far beyond America's borders. Also, we see big moves out of ARK Invest today. The turning heads on Wall Street. The fund, led by Cathie Wood, dumped a hefty stake in Meta Platforms, unloading more than 14,000 shares for roughly $9.1 million. At the same time, ARK doubled down on the trade desk, scooping up over 204,000 shares worth nearly $7.9 million across its innovation-focused ETFs. These trades signal a strategic pivot away from big name, the social media, tech, and towards firms in digital advertising and growth-oriented markets. Investors will be watching closely to see if this shift marks a broader reallocation across this sector. All right, and in a surprising twist that shows just how hot AI has become, football legend Cristiano Ronaldo has jumped into the tech world, investing in Perplexity AI, a startup building innovative AI-powered search tools. Perplexity, reportedly valued around $20 billion, says the partnership includes a branded Perplexity X CR7 hub, combining Ronaldo's global appeal with the platform's tech. The move signals a growing trend of crossover between celebrity influence and high-growth tech startups that could massively boost Perplexity's visibility among billions of fans worldwide. For investors and tech watchers, it's a bold bet, a sports star backing a booming AI player, betting on curiosity and growth in equal measure. And now to Microsoft. They're hiking prices on its Office and Microsoft 365 subscriptions for commercial and government customers. Some tiers rising as much as 33%. Starting July 2026, basic business plans jump from $6 to about $7 per user. Standard plans go from $12.50 to $14, and enterprise packages like E3, E5 also see notable increases. And the International Monetary Fund is urging Argentina to dramatically beef up its foreign exchange reserves if it hopes to win back access to global capital markets. The fund says stronger monetary and FX policies are needed to build a sufficient buffer, key to shielding the economy from shocks and restoring investor confidence. With Argentina eyeing new bond issuances and local corporations already tapping foreign markets, all eyes on whether Buenos Aires can deliver a meaningful reserve rebuild before year's end. That's it on the business and the global business space.
Thank you very much, Ladi. And just before we go on business morning, we'll take a peep into the markets. We see the green sentiment that the market closed with yesterday is still on this morning in early trade. The all share index is up 0.24%, retaining the 145,000 level and looking close to 146,000. Is at 145,817.75. So we do hope that that's sustained that intraday when Ladi Williams will be here to give you an update from the world of business. I'm Ini John McQuarrie. It's been a pleasure being on this side of it. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.